Right, we're on. And welcome to another little recording of Steve's Gardening Chat. Little chit chat about what I'm doing at the moment. It's what's the date today? It is the 26th of February. So yesterday was a very nice day. It was lovely and warm, and it felt like spring was here, and it was bright. And today it's blooming freezing, and the wind's blowing. And been out for a walk today, but I didn't fancy pottering in the garden. Too blowy, so I thought I'd bring in a couple of pots. And we'll just weed through them and see what's there. Do a bit of grok AI to identify what we got. I think we got a honeysuckle there, and I think that might be a silver birch. And then we've also got these other things growing in here. So I want to know what they are before I rip anything out. So, but firstly, going to start with something I was very pleased about. And it's some seeds that I planted just 4 days ago. And they are Hibiscus. And I think I can pull that off there. That's my little grow tent. But look at that. How about that for 4 days? They actually emerged on day 3. So they are tiny little seeds. Poppy seeds, I suppose, something like that. And I'm going to show you what I did. They're obviously planted in or sown into my jiffy pods, which is a sterile way of sowing seeds. But what I did, I don't know if you can see that. That's what I call my scarifier, and it's basically a bit of wet and dry paper, probably 120 grit, so it's all rough on the inside. And I put all my seeds in there, and then just put my thumb over there, just shook them for a minute or two, and that makes micro abrasions on the seeds, so that when you begin to soak them, introduce them to moisture, it can penetrate the outer shell a little bit easier. Sometimes people with bigger seeds, they even nick the end of the seed. But with little diddy ones, that's what I did with that. And then after I'd soaked all the pods and they'd risen, I just kind of forked them up a bit to make them fluffy, just by using something like that. And I'm using seaweed water, so I put 12 drops of liquid seaweed into about 3/4 of a litre sprayer as my ratio. So all the water in here has seaweed in it, and that has hormones in it apparently, which helps trigger seeds to germinate, so I've been told. And that's what we got. So I was absolutely delighted with that, because I don't have a lot of success with seeds generally, so I'm looking forward to bringing those on. I don't know what I've done damage any. Can't do it how I did it before. That's all end up breaking them. So in there I've got 4 seeds. I put 4 seeds in each pod, thinking at least half of them would sprout. And so far, I think this is 11. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. 10. Thought there was 11. Lost one. Anyway, they're starting to grow. Oh yeah, I was going to say the first, what looks like leaves on these sprouts are called cotyledons, and they're the instigator for light, but they're not actually leaves. So they open up and start photosynthesis process off, and then you get your first sprouts of proper leaves after that. So we're going to put that back over there, out of the way, to carry on. Hopefully tomorrow I'll see a few more sprouts coming out. And then the other thing, which I'll show you, is over here in my little grow zone. Underneath is my Amazon Echo, and it creates a little bit of warmth, and it's got some blue tack blobs on the top, then this ceramic type tray, and then pods. And what we've got in there are mirabilis seeds. So I'll just put a probe in there just to show you what the temperature is inside. So in the house it's probably about 18 degrees, 19 degrees. But in the tray there, look, I've got 22.2 with the light and the heat from underneath, or the warmth from underneath, should I say. And humidity is 90%. So that's interesting just to know. We've created an area that is, I need to put that screen back on a second so I can see. Line you up again. Does that need to go down at all? Oh. That's about right, something like that. So yeah, mirabilis, not done anything. So disappointed. I'd lost faith in sowing seeds, and then I sowed the hibiscus because I just got fed up waiting for the mirabilis, and voila, we were off. Very exciting, creating a life. So let's have a little look in these pots. So let's do this one first. So we seem to be right. What have we got in this one? So let's start by cutting away all the dead stuff. it's not a pest of a weed, I'm quite happy to leave roots in there. So this bit of grass we'll try and pull up on a root, but we didn't. So we've got a bit of moss growing there, which I like. So I'm just going to snip that off the moss rather than pull all that out. I think that is some of that pesky, creeping Jenny stuff, which we don't want. I'm pretty sure it is. Just going to go for that. Yeah, that grows everywhere. Got it growing through my patio door. Got to sort that out. So that's that. Don't know what these were. Probably weeds. But yeah, I leave the I don't mind leaving the roots, old roots in the soil, because it forms channels for microbes and oxygen. And like little corridors that move life about. So if you just had dirt, that's not as microbially friendly as something with vegetative root growth. I've got some stones in there. I think I put those stones in there during the summer when it was really hot, just to limit evaporation. So we can start to see what we got now. So we've got a cluster of something coming up on this side. Last year I was just plonking things anywhere. If I had a few seeds or something that I just plucked out of the ground from somewhere, I'd just tuck it in a pot to see if it ever became anything. And this is why we have to look through these pots now to know what we've got. So this isn't looking that healthy, but it's still alive. So let's try and investigate what that is. Is that the same plant? I think that new shoot is the same as that, which could be the same as all of that. So what we're going to do is ask Grok if they can ID it. So in the middle, I'm sure this is a silver birch. I remember grabbing a piece of silver birch on a forest walk somewhere where it had been dislodged. It was just laying on the side of the path. It had a bit of root on it, so I grabbed it and stuck it in the pot to see what it would do, and it's budding away. Got lots of little buds. Bud, 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 bud. Maybe a bud there. So it'd be lovely to see what that grows into. Let's go on our grok. see what Grok has to say about IDing those little plants. I bet he tells me they're weeds. Let's go on my gardening chat. And on there, once it locks on, there we go. Pulling up my 900 pages of chat. Grok. Right, I'm going to go to camera. Take a photo. So I'm going to take a photo of all of those. So, can you ID these for me? Let's see what Grok says. They look very healthy. They're loving it. There's the little white fly, green fly things that are on the pot coming in the house. Right, let's have a look. It's a weed. It's telling me these are young chickweed seedlings, Stellaria media, a very common annual weed wild plant in UK gardens and pots. Small oval to rounded bright green leaves arranged in opposite pairs. Low spreading rosette growth. Thin delicate stems, which could be these from last year's growth. Leaves smooth or slightly shiny. Growing densely in a pot, chickweed loves moist, disturbed soil and germinates quickly in trays and pots. This matches classic chickweed seedlings. They form a tight mat. So comparison to similar plants, similar to a forget-me-not. Now, it could be forget-me-not because we have got similar shaped things coming up, and we did have a packet of forget-me-not seeds which I kind of like scattered everywhere, which were in remembrance of our old dog Solly. We never got round to sowing them, so as I was getting into my garden, I thought it was about time we sowed them. So it would be nice if they are forget-me-nots. It's also similar to Speedwell, which will have a blue violet flower. Also similar to Herb Robert geranium. Chickweed is edible. How about that? It has tiny white flowers later, but it spreads fast by seed. So I'm going to guess it's something that I've planted, that I've plucked and planted from somewhere, or those forget-me-not seeds. I don't know what that is. Something shooting up there on a stem. That's something different. Don't know. I don't want to pluck it out. I don't want to get rid of it till I know I don't want it. But I'm loving the mosses that are growing in here. Got a whole load of mosses that look like they're really enjoying it. There's this particular spiky one here. So we're going to leave that undisturbed. What else can we just get rid of? Just that old leaf, bit of old leaf there. Don't really want to put all old leaves out, but just to make it look tidier. That's it. So what to do with these is the question. What I'm inclined to do is a bit of an air layering. So I'm going to scratch it under here. If that's still alive. It is alive, isn't it? Yeah, because that end is alive. Or shall we do it there? We do it here. Scratched it on that node. And then I'm going to tuck that down side of the pot. It'll be held by that stone. So it's just pressed down. I'm not going to scratch that one. I'm going to move that stone away a bit. That's it. Just press down into the soil. It's annoying me, that loopy bit, but it's just what it is. Right, tuck that down. It's broken, it's broken. Let's see what happens. That's it. So that's that one tidied. Be interesting to see what becomes of that. Be lovely to have a little silver birch starting to grow. And then a clustering, flowering forget-me-not, or what's the other one called? Chickweed with white flowers. But we will see. So let's put that one over there a minute. Let me get this one to start going through. Now remember collecting what I thought was honeysuckle from a few woodland walks that I did last year. I'm pretty sure that's it. It's what to do with it, whether to chop it back so it bushes out a little bit. So let's just ask Grok again if we can get an ID on some of the leaves. Okay, I'm just going to ask it direct. Is this honeysuckle? Question mark. What do you reckon, Grok? Grok's having a think. Yes, this is young honeysuckle, cutting or new growth, likely Lonicera, Periclymenum, or a garden honeysuckle variety. Why it is honeysuckle? Because of the leaf shape. And the stems, growth habit, twining, vining. Yeah. It was well, when I picked the pot up, it was well tangled up around other stuff. I had to detangle it. So that is quite high, and I would have only picked short bits on my walk. It's not bindweed. Propagation. Honeysuckle cuttings root very easily in water or soil. Growth. Once rooted, it will vine quickly. Train it on a trellis or let it trail. Expect fragrant tubular flowers. Nice. Pink, white, yellow. If it is a flowering variety. Of course, it being wild, it may not be a flowering variety, but we'll see. So I need to keep it in bright but indirect light. So it was left out in the baking sun in the middle of the patio last year. That didn't harm it. Yeah, do you want tips on potting it up or training it? So let's speak to Grok. Hello there. Yeah, can you give me some tips on training this honeysuckle? Should I cut it back a little to make it more bushy? Hello? Are you there, Grok? Oh my god. It says stop, so I am. It's still listening. Are you listening? Oh, Grok's not responding. Stop. So let's type it in. Should I prune it back? Grok is thinking, should I prune it? Look at all this rubbish. Get rid of all that. What I think is creeping Jenny. Yes, pruning it back now would be a good idea. This is a young honeysuckle cutting, likely Lonicera periclymenum or a garden variety, and it's still in the early rooting establishment phase. Pruning lightly will help it focus energy on root development rather than leggy top growth, while encouraging bushier, stronger branching later. Why prune now? The stem is long and thin with only a few small leaves at the tip, classic leggy. Removing the top third or half encourages side shoots and prevents it becoming a single weak vine. It promotes a denser, healthier plant. So yeah, so we're going a third to a half, look. My God. How much to cut off? I hate cutting things off when they're going well. It's like, oh no, don't do it. Right, what we're going to do is third to half. Gonna go for it. I'm gonna go for it. There. There. And I'll leave that one a bit longer. There. Right, so now I'm not going to waste any of those. I'm going to plant them all straight back in here. So what are these? They've got some resistance on. I think that's carnation. It's got some resistance. See that? I think that's carnation that I popped in there as a propagation experiment. So I'm reluctant. If anything feels anchored, which it does, I'm not going to cut it off. I'm not going to remove it. So, what we got there? That's new growth. That's new honeysuckle. That's a lovely fresh shoot coming right out the bottom of the honeysuckle there. Look, that's nice. And then we've got this thing growing here. What's that? This one here. Nobody knows. It's exciting. Right, so we're gonna grab the creeping Jenny. Try and get the roots of that. They just tend to, they don't go down deep, they just tend to trail across the surface, mostly. Some wigglies in there, wiggling them out. See, that's green and growing, whatever that is. Hopefully more honeysuckle. Don't know if that's roots from creeping Jenny or the roots of the honeysuckle. Yeah, creeping Jenny. Bloody stuff. So, just grabbing those. Pretty clued up to what the creeping Jenny things look like now, so as we go through the year, we can just pluck them out. Don't want the catkin thing in there. Don't know if that acts as seed. That's it really, that. Just give that a little stir up, a little gentle. What we got there? That in there. It's another seed or pip. Oh, great big. Oh, I thought it was a slug stone. That's it. So what we've got to do now is think about these cuttings. That we can just use them as cuttings. Just see what happens. So what we want is so I think a bit like that. Just grow quite readily if I leave, I'm leaving a bit of stem on, as it will have energy in the stem. And then there's a little buddy bit underneath the leaves. Look. I'm not sure whether to scrape that off or just plant that straight in. I'm just going to plant it straight in. I don't know what I'm doing. So, I'm assuming, yeah, that the growth would have been upwards. So we're just going to cut that. Oh, a bit of rooting powder we wanted, didn't we? That's it. That's that one. And let's do this one. I'm gonna oh, it's broken off. Oh well. I'm gonna try and bend it. So going to put rooting powder. Oh, got it everywhere. That's it, that's another one. Do or die. Do or die. Right. This one, I'm gonna trim that a little bit. Trim that to there. And literally, I'm gonna even rooting powder this one. Just gonna tuck it down the side of the pot. Just leave the, oh, just demolishing that one. Sorry mate. God. Just planted that one, demolished it. Right. Same with that one, down the side of the pot. Do or die. And the last few leaves on that cutting just above the soil. So I'm just making good use of these bits rather than throwing them away. That's what we would have started with last year. Something like that. No idea which way up that was supposed to go. that way. That away. So the leaf bud is just above the node, which is how it would have grown. So we're going to do that. Let's have a little bit. Make a little hole. Not deep enough. That's it. Have a bit of extra rooting powder. Milk, mate. That's it. God, little woodlouse likes that rooting powder. He's getting stuck into that. Don't think he had a lot of choice there. Tiny little one. Good luck. Good luck, little one. It's got to be that way. Space. Over here. No rooting powder on that one. Can't bother. Straight in. A bit deeper. That's it, last one. Last one that we didn't want to waste. Think that way. Nice little one, isn't it? Just there. Just there. Go on. Go on, that's it. That's it. Here we have it. A lot. So another 2 pots done. God, I've done so many. That's it for this little video. So we've got a pot of honeysuckle to watch, and we've got a silver birch and maybe some forget-me-nots or similar, or that weedy chickweed thing that they were saying about, plus that little shoot, which we don't know what that is. Is that something else? No, can't be. this little. Wonder if it is another bit of silver birch climate. Anyway, that's it. Enough chit chat for this one. Oh yeah, Mirabilis. I'll give you a look in on those again sometime. And the I forgot what the others are called now. What are they called, Finny? We forgot. Keep forgetting what these are called. Hibiscus. And the hibiscus, given to me by those seeds, given to me by a chap up the road. So he'll be pleased to know that they've fulfilled themselves. So thanks very much for dialing in. I'll see you again on another pot nerding session or garden session sometime soon. Take care. Bye for now.